Hi everyone, welcome back to SQ World. Today in this tutorial, we will learn about data-driven testing in BM with Python. Data-driven testing is a powerful approach where we run the same test with multiple sets of input data. This helps us avoid duplicate test cases and make our testing more efficient. Before starting, if you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe to SQ World and press the bell icon so you never miss my upcoming tutorial. Let's dig in login feature file, enter a here feature, and the feature is login testing. Login testing and scenario outline. Here two options, scenario and scenario outline. If you want to pass only single data, so use here scenario. But we need to perform data driven testing, so here we will use scenario outline and login test. Login test, and the given is I open the login page. First, user will open the login page and then enter username and password. When I enter username, enter a here bracket with double quote. When I enter username and password, double quote here, bracket and password, and click on the login button. First scenario is login test. Given I open the login page, when I enter username and password, we will define username and password in example section and then click on the login button. If you hover on this, example scenario is missing. So click on create example. Here you can view username and password. Now we need to define username and password. Here we can define multiple users name and password here. So open Chrome browser and here you can view multiple username are available. Standard underscore user, logged out underscore user, problem underscore user. So here multiple users. Suppose you want to log in with multiple users. So you can enter users credentials here in example section. Enter here a standard underscore user and then define password. Let's enter here password. Password is secret underscore source on PyCharm. Enter here username and password. Let's enter invalid credentials here. After valid username and password, wrong underscore user and then wrong underscore pass. Now we have defined here two credentials here. First is valid credentials. User will be logged in with valid credentials, and the second is wrong username and password. User will get invalid credentials. Now write the steps here. After writing this feature file, we need to define a step in step file. First here enter from behave, import given when, then from behave import given when, then. Now import Webdriver from Selenium, import Webdriver. For initializing Webdriver, we need to define here Webdriver and then define here by for getting element from Selenium dot Webdriver dot common dot by and import by. Import time for adding delays in a script at the rate given is I open the login page. Given is login page. Define step here, dev step underscore and context. Context dot driver initialize Webdriver here. Context dot driver is equal to Webdriver dot here multiple browsers you can view: Chrome, Firefox, Edge. These all browsers available. Click on Chrome. Context. First navigate to the URL. We need to navigate to the URL. So here we will write driver.get. Driver.get is used for opening the URL. First we define here open Chrome browser and navigate to the URL driver.get and then enter the URL of the login page. Here URL and then maximize the window. After opening this application, we need to maximize the window. Driver context, here use context dot driver dot maximize window and then define the step for enter username and password. After opening this application, we need to define step for username and password, because after navigating to the URL, enter username and password and then click on login button. When enter same text, which is I enter username and password. In step file, we need to enter here just username with double quotes. We do not need to define here. Just enter here bracket. It means we define our data in feature file. Same as well for password, we need to enter here bracket and then enter bracket and single quote here. Same as well. In start, we need to enter single quote here. Now, dev step underscore on the text, comma, username, and the second one is password. Now, we need to locate this element username and password here. Open this URL, right click, inspect. We can locate this element by ID. Here ID is user dash name. So we can locate this element by username. For entering username here, context here, context dot driver dot find underscore element by dot ID. These all the locators. If you want to click on the link, so you need to use this link text. If you want to click on any link, you can use partial link text. This is XPath. These all locators are available here. For now, click on ID. We will locate this element by ID and then enter here ID. ID is user dash name, context dot driver dot find element by dot ID. Enter ID here for password. Right click here, inspect, and here ID is password. We can locate by ID as well name. So for now, use this ID. Value is password. Password dot send keys Send key is basically used for entering any data in a field. For username and password, we need to use here send underscore keys username. As you can view here, we define username and we just enter here in our step file username and then password. Next thing we need to do here, we need to click on the login button. So here we define and click on the login button. That's the right step for clicking on the login button. When and then enter here, click on the login button, def underscore step def step underscore and enter here context. As you can view here in login button, we just need to click here login. So here we do not need to define username and password. In this scenario, we need to enter username and password. So here we define context for my username and password and use send keys for entering username and password. Right here, context dot driver dot find element. Let's see how we can locate this element. For locating this element, click on this login button, inspect, and here ID is login dash button. So we can locate this element by ID. As well, we can locate this element by class name. Class name is btn underscore action. Enter here ID is login dash button and use click method for clicking on this button. Click method is used for click on the button. Let's add some weight here. After clicking on the button, add here time dot sleep, which is used for wait 2 millisecond. Now we can run the test. As you can view here in login.feature, we define here username and password, valid username, valid password, invalid username and invalid password. Now this is the step. Can run the test. For running the test, enter here behave command. Just enter here behave and then click on enter. First it will open browser. You can view here, given I open the login page, maximize the window, enter your valid username and password, and then navigate to the URL, and then it will enter invalid username and password. You can view here wrong underscore user and password. In terminal, we can view all the steps. One feature in this file, we have total one feature, which is login testing, and two scenarios, total two scenarios here. Then 0 failed, 0 skipped. If you want to run this test case by feature file, so you can write just here behave and then enter your features folder name, features, and then enter here login dot feature. So you can run by this file name, which is login feature. Given I open the login page, you can view here standard user login and then login with invalid credentials. Open browser, enter invalid username and password. You can view here all the steps here. When I enter wrong username and password and click on the login button. So that's how you can perform data-driven testing in Behave using examples. This technique helps us save time, reduce redundancy, and improve the test coverage. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe to SQL for more tutorials on Selenium, Behave, Postman, JMeter, and much more. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.